Hey there, and welcome to the Bold Badass Business Show. I'm your host, Dr. Barnsley Brown, and I am thrilled to be with you today and to bring you an international speaker and SEO genie, the infamous Terry Power. Welcome to the show, Terry.
Thanks for having me, Dr. Barnsley. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here. And actually, you're in North Carolina like me. Where are you about?
Right in the middle.
Whereabouts are you, Terry?
Yeah, I'm right in the middle in Greensboro.
That's right. Greensboro, North Carolina, about an hour from where I am. So it's North Carolina in the house. North Carolina in the house. You all, I have to tell you, I met Terry because I heard him give the most fabulous presentation about SEO. For those of you who are aspiring business owners, that is search engine optimization. That means you'll be seen in Google instead of being buried on page number 170. And guess what? Most people never even go to page 2. Now, what I loved about Terry is he's the real deal. And you all on Bold Badass Business, we are the no bullshit way to grow your business. That is what we are. Terry, by the way, you can curse if you wish to today in the interview. All right. You can say BS, you know, whatever you need to. Here's the thing, everybody. We want you to have the real information that is truly proven to work. And there are a lot of people out there calling themselves SEO specialists, SEO consultants, SEO speakers, etc. And they don't have the last clue about how to do organic, powerful SEO with integrity. So, Terry, let's start there because I know that's what you do. Would you explain? Because we've got people who already have businesses super successful. We've got people who are aspiring. We have people who are growing their businesses. Tell us quickly the difference between organic and non-organic SEO.
Well, when you do a Google search, you get what are known as SERPs, search engine result pages. Generally at the top, you see some ads. It'll say sponsored by them. Then you may see a local map pack known as the 3-pack, Google Business Profiles. Used to be a 7-pack, then a 5, now it's down to 3.
Wow.
And then below that, usually you'll start your organic listings, which are just web pages.
Now, I love that you pointed out the sponsored ones. And by the way, you all, I have had a hell of a crud. So if I sound like Kermit the Frog or Edith Piaf today, or a blues singer, now you know why, but I'm going to stick a cough drop in my mouth and try to make this work. So, Terry, I love that you mentioned the sponsored ads because those folks pay to be at the top. And they pay to be at the top because they know they're going to get the most views, right? Most people are going to look at the top of the page.
Not necessarily the most, but they get a good amount of views. Mm-hmm. You tell Google how much you're willing to spend, and they'll spend that much.
Exactly. So. But the point being, if you're at the top, I know a lot of times, even though I know they're sponsored, somebody paid for it, I'm like, oh, that looks perfect. I'll grab it. And I'll click there instead of scrolling down like a good researcher and looking at the bottom. So it's kind of like those what do they call them in grocery stores? The end units. Yeah, end caps, where they put the stuff. And also when you're going through the line, they put it right there. Why? Because they know you're going to be tempted and you're going to buy. Same thing with SEO. So organic is when we're creating content, right, Terry, that's really good content about what we're doing. We're providing value. It's like red hat. They call it red hat strategies. But black hat is when we're doing kind of underhanded things to create SEO. Is that right? Put it in expert terms.
Things that Google doesn't care for. They're not necessarily illegal. They're not necessarily unethical. They're just things Google doesn't like. Keep in mind, Google's job is to sell ads.
Yeah.
So if you are ranking well without selling ads, Google's not happy about that. they'd rather you have to pay for some ads because that's how they make their living. So, so some black hat is really bad. Most black hat is just regular SEO. Google says any attempt to manipulate the search results, they consider black hat.
Interesting.
Well, anybody that puts, titles their page a keyword does that because they're trying to get ranking.
Exactly. Well, anybody who does keyword stuffing, and that's when you, for example, behind an image, maybe you stick a bunch of keywords. That's okay because people can't see it maybe. But if you're on a page and somebody's just sticking keywords in there and they make no sense out of context, Google really doesn't like it.
And Google may decide to slap you for it. They may let it go, knowing it's not going to convert very well. If you're looking for a riding lawnmower, and you Google riding lawnmower and you come to a page that says riding lawnmowers are great, you should buy a riding lawnmower. Our riding lawnmowers are the best riding lawnmower. You're not going to buy from that. So it doesn't matter that it's ranking well if it's not going to convert. So you want to find a happy medium where your keyword is there enough that Google knows what your page is about, but not so much that you're going to turn off a human that's looking at the page.
Okay, did everybody hear that? That's a true gem, okay? That is a gem right here. When you're putting your keywords in, don't have it be like those primers when you were in first grade. Remember? See Spot run. Spot runs fast. Spot is a great dog. Spot just pooped on the floor. Bad Spot, bad. No. Spot is our keyword there, okay? Don't repeat the keyword in every word. Everybody's going to hate you. It's going to read bad, and everybody's going to want to, they're like, what the heck? Who's writing this? AI? And they're going to want to go to another site, right? And especially, I've seen people put them at the bottom, Terry, where they don't even attempt to have a sentence. It's just like
right.
a list of keywords.
There's nothing wrong with that if they are at the bottom, if they're links to, say, your other pages.
Yes.
Like you're also in and you have a list saying Raleigh, Charlotte, Greensboro, Wilmington.
Smart.
But everybody should know how many keywords you put in a page.
Oh, yeah. How many?
It will vary a great deal depending on your keyword. If you Google the word games, which is a very expensive keyword to add for, to buy ads for, the number one organic result uses the word games in their page over 1,100 times on that one page. And Google has punished them by putting them all the way to the top. So in some keywords, Google likes that. And they say, bring it on. Other keywords,
they're selling.
If you have more than 2 or 3, you can get, you'll drop down. So really, it's important that you look at your competition. What are they doing? Do they have riding lawnmowers every other word? Well, if they're at the top doing that, apparently Google is fine with it.
Okay. All right. Now you're dropping. I'm pausing you. Time out, because that is a great tip right there. So what you do, what I'm hearing, Terry, tell me if this is right, because so many people don't understand SEO. Would you agree? Like lay people, right? And right. I just happen to have read, I'm interested. So I know a little bit. I know enough to sound like I know something. But here's the thing. You just said, go look at who's at the top and look at their site and see how many times they're using that big keyword on a page. And then you follow suit, because if they're at the top right now and the algorithms are always changing, by the way, so you need to do this every, 6 months? 3 months?
Again, it depends on the keyword. Some keywords change more often than others,
Wow.
Some
what are the ones that change more? Are they the ones around technology? Can you kind of codify them?
It's more topical related. Like for instance,
like Diddy.
Yeah.
Diddy party. Yeah. Freak off.
If you Google motivational speaker.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
You see that on page 1, at least half of the results are YouTube videos.
Yes.
And think maybe I should include a YouTube video on my page.
Yes.
Like I said, you need to look at the competition and see what Google rewards for those keywords.
Okay, I'm going to pause you. You just gave people a piece of gold. And here's something I find on my show is like, you live with this, and you're SEO international speaker, SEO expert. But what you're sharing is super genius, Terry, because here's the thing. Everybody listening, are you someone that people want to have a relationship with? Okay, like a professional relationship. And especially if you're something like a coach, an attorney, a financial advisor, they have a lot of criteria they have to meet, so they have to be careful. Or you're a motivational speaker, or let's say you're like a trainer, a physical trainer, you train people, you're a coach trainer in a gym. People are going to want to see you and hear you. And the thing is, when you do that video, because YouTube is owned by Google, it's going to help you. And so think about, those of you listening, am I in a profession where people really need to know me before they want to open up about, like, who they want to inherit their stuff? If it's an estate planning attorney, or they want to open up, in my case, about the money they're not making in their business, so that we can create what they want. We have to really earn people's trust. And I think video is one of the best ways to do that. What do you think, Terry?
Well, I agree, it is, which is one of the reasons that so many of you connected with Dr. Barnsley. You saw
I think
her,
it's just because I'm cray-cray, Terry. I'm just cray-cray,
and
as my daughter would say.
Maybe that's what attracted the. But it's important to build a community. You need to have people feel as if they know you, they like you, they trust you. You can fake that, but you'll last longer if you don't.
You know what? My family members always called that the faking. They called it the shit-eating grin, Terry. And I'm going to show everybody. You've probably heard that because you're from the South. Here's the shit-eating grin. It's when you meet somebody at an event and they're like, "Oh, hey, Terry." So freaking fake, And the idea is you've just eaten poop, but you don't want somebody to know. You've been in the cookie jar, but you don't want them to know. You don't like them, but you're going to pretend you do. Now, no SEGs, no shit-eating grins, y'all. Terry, you didn't know we were going to curse so much. Have you ever cursed on a show? Or do you keep it clean?
I have, but usually it's kept clean.
You know what? I'll tell you, Terry, can I compliment you? Is that all right?
Probably.
It's a good compliment. When I heard you present, I was like, this guy's a real person, and he can actually explain things that are technical. And I have been in so many presentations where I sat there and I understood a little bit because I read a lot, but other people were sitting there like, what the heck, and you see them, their eyes, they're glazing over and they're pretending they have narcolepsy. Well, you can explain stuff. And those of you listening, I want you to know how rare that is in an SEO expert. Would you agree, Terry? What do you think? In a technical person, IT guy.
Yeah, there are a lot of so-called SEO experts that want people to think it's magic, that there's a secret formula, but it's math. People use algorithms, just math. And you won't tell you what the algorithm is, but
it won't, or it will.
Google, they will not. It's proprietary. They don't want to give it up. They don't want Bing in on it or Yahoo or any of us. So but by Googling something, we can get an idea of what they are rewarding. What's at the top? What have they given the organic stature of number 1 ranking, a top 5 ranking to? And you can go through those pages if you have ideas of what to look for and figure out, they seem to be rewarding. For instance, if the title of your page starts with your keyword, they like that.
Okay.
Because it tells them, this is a page about that, whatever that is.
Business or
it doesn't matter if you're, a roofing company or you're a chiropractor, personal injury attorney. If you're a personal injury attorney and your name's Terry Power, the personal injury attorney, that keyword should appear before the Terry Power in your title. Because
Beautiful.
if people don't know Terry Power, they're looking for a personal injury attorney. If they
Okay, now when
already
you say
know
title,
Terry
are you
Power
talking
is a
about
personal injury attorney, then they're not even, having to search for a personal injury attorney. They just call you. So you're looking.
gotcha.
Search engines are for people that don't know you, right?
Mhm.
So they will find you based on the keywords they are searching for.
Whether it's ice fishing or personal injury. Now, when you say title, Terry, I'm going to ask this because I want everybody, like we said, we had got some really people starting up here, and we want to break it down for them. So do you mean the navigation buttons at the top, or do you mean the title, the headline of the actual page should be your keyword?
Well,
Or both?
this is not the answer you're hoping for, but they both should, but that's not the title I was talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking
What's the
about
title you're talking
if
about?
you pull up a website and you move your mouse up to the tabs at the top, you'll
Uh-huh.
see the title of that page.
Okay.
It's an HTML hypertext markup language. It's a coding for the title of the page. That's the first
Right.
thing Google looks at. So if somebody types in ice fishing equipment, the first thing Google does, it does all this really fast, is it looks through, tries to find every page it can find that has ice fishing equipment in the title. Then it sorts them based on, is that at the beginning of the title? That's even better. Then it starts to look at your actual page, the first line of your page, your navigation, stuff like that. But the
So it's
initial
kind of
thing is
tiered.
that title tag and having it as the leading keyword.
All right. Now the title tag people find when they go in and look at the code. Yeah.
No, they don't have to look at the code. If they just take their mouse up to the tab,
Uh-huh.
that what's in the tab on the top of your browser, that's your title tag.
All right. Everybody got that? What's in your tab at the top of your browser is the title tag. So for example, I'm just seeing, I'm like, oh crap, I've got a title tag up here for my get out of debt set, and it says get out of debt, but maybe it should be debt first.
Well, get out of debt is a good keyword. What you
It's a
don't
long
want,
tail. Yeah.
yeah, well, what you don't want is your title tag on your homepage to say home or homepage. Unless you're selling homes, then maybe. But you want Google to know this has nothing to do with homes. It has to do with, get out of debt or whatever it happens to be.
Okay, now you all, I hope you're understanding. I love the way you describe the title tag because truthfully, I've heard people talk about headers and it gets so, header 1, header 2, blah, blah, blah. It gets so confusing, but you all just look up at the tab and that's going to tell you. And remember, the other thing is that when we talk about keyword, it may not be one. It's not, maybe not one word like games. It could be the best teenage games online. And that's your keyword. So remember, you've got what we call long tail, which is like a phrase, the best teenage online games, the best games for teenagers online. And then you've got short tail ones that may be just 1 or 2 words, like Reiki training or Reiki healing. It's
And
okay,
Google
but when we
tells
say
us
keyword, we don't mean just one.
right. Google tells us that more than half the searches are more than 3 words long.
Exactly.
That wasn't the case 15 years ago. People have gotten better at searching. They understand now if I just put in pizza, I could find recipes, I could find pizza places, I could find, and that's, you're better off putting in, be more specific. So they now put in, deep dish pizza near me or whatever they're looking for, because we've gotten better at searching. And Google's gotten better at figuring out it's okay to put in more words. We can do that. So make sure whatever your keyword is, whether it's a 1-word keyword, Reiki, or whether it's, where can I find a Reiki trainer near me? That's a long tail keyword. But whichever it is, you want that at the beginning of your title.
Love it.
You don't have to have it in your navigation. Your navigation can have home to come back to the home page, but those don't have to match each other. But the first line of your actual content on your page should also start with that keyword, whether it's a long tail or a short tail. You want it to be the first thing people read, not necessarily the title or the phone number at the top, stuff like that, but the body of your website, that page should start with your keyword.
Love it. And I have also heard, Terry, and by the way, you all listening, would you please send some good energy to my throat so I don't cough my guts up and you don't have to listen? Okay. Just send me some good healing energies, like some prayers, heal this throat here. Terry, I've heard, and tell me if this is true. I know I'm asking you like a lot of, specific questions, but they're things that I want to know. And I'm sure the listener is thinking, yeah, when you do a YouTube video, I've heard that your first few words are always the most, what you entitle it is always the most important. Is that right?
Yes. In fact, when you create the title for first of all, before you even upload your video, you want to name it your keyword.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, Google sees it as 43678 AVI or .mp3. You don't want them to see that anything but the keyword as the name. So you upload it with the name. Then your title on a YouTube video should start with your keyword. Then a dash, a line, something, and then a variation on that keyword.
So I should have entitled this, maybe I'll change it. I should have entitled this, your SEO and ranking higher on Google, what do chainsaws have to do with that? All right. Everybody get it? I should have put the SEO and ranking higher on Google first. And I'm going to change it. Y'all. I don't care that the graphics went out for my virtual assistant. I'm going to change it up because I want this video to be seen by those of you who are like stumped by SEO. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it right there. And then I can put what do chainsaws have to do with that? Because I have to admit, Terry, I love you're going to have to tell this in a little bit, but we're going to keep them in suspense for a while.
But one other thing I want to point out, when you're trying to rank your page, if you're going to put images on your page, and you should, keep in mind, Google can't tell if the image is a cat playing a piano or someone getting a massage. Google can't see pictures.
Or it could be a cat getting a massage, Terry. What if it's a cat getting a massage? Google can't see it.
I saw a cute video the other day of a cat cooking his fish dinner, grilling it out. But
I think I saw the same one.
Is this the one
where the guy's looking out and he's like freaking out because his cat is like cleaning the fish, and then the cat puts it on the grill and he's putting the sauce on it and he's like licking his little cat chops. Oh my God, that was hilarious.
Google can only see ones and zeros, right? So they don't know what the image is. So you need to name the image. If you're using a system like WordPress or something like that, you want to name it before you even upload it to your WordPress.
Ooh, name it before you upload it to WordPress, y'all. Name the image.
You don't want to upload an image that's 487.jpg. You want to upload an image that's, cat giving a massage.jpg or whatever.
Or SEO secrets.
And if you're, once your page is up and about, you can, no matter what, whether it's an HTML page, a WordPress, a Wix, Squarespace, whatever, you can go in and add alternate tags to images.
Beautiful.
Alt tag. And they should never be empty. They should always have your keyword in it, whatever your keyword is for that page. If it's a cat playing a piano image, but your page is about Reiki training, then your image could be named Reiki training - cat playing a piano. So it still has a description of the image, but it starts, again, the leading keyword. You want to start things like this with the keyword first, not at the end.
So alt tags is where you put alternative versions of it, like SEO for dummies. Or
the idea of alt tag is to explain to Google and to anybody that's blind, their blind readers will read it aloud to them, what that image is and what it has to do with your page. So not just a cat playing a piano, because nobody would know what that has to do with Reiki training. I don't either, but if it says Reiki training - cat playing a piano, Okay, now at least we may not know why, but we know it's an image of a cat playing piano. We also know, more importantly, it's an image that has to do with Reiki training.
You
So
know what,
you
Terry?
want
It's funny that you say that
people to
because
know all
one
that.
of the things I teach in my Reiki training is how to work on animals because I rescue animals. So we've got 2 cats and 3 dogs. So you're just picking up on that. Like I do a whole section, and either one of my cats, they like talk about it somehow and figure out. One of them will stroll in at the time that it's time to talk about how to work on animals. Just like, here I am, Mom. Well, I love that. So you all, this is a great technique, that strategy that Terry's giving us. So you name your image with your best keyword before you upload it. And then you go in and you add the alt tags. And those are also going to have variations of your search terms, right? The other ones that are good search terms that are relevant. And I love that you mentioned, Terry, that this is what, if you're blind, you're going to hear it. It's going to explain it to you. Because I have a client who happens to be blind. She's a brilliant estate planning attorney. And one thing she often complains about is that website. She's like, I can't tell what it is. I don't know what that image is. I don't know what that, I don't get it. Nobody's put anything in there. So for her, you think about this, you all. We can see, those of us who have sight can see Terry's incredible picture, which, by the way, is from his trip in Aruba, which we're going to talk about. So we can see that. But if you are blind or you have cataracts or visual issues, then when you look there, if Terry hasn't put in there my magical trip to Aruba to teach SEO or whatever, then we're not going to know what the hell it is.
And about 20% of the world population has some visual issues.
Are you serious, Terry?
So you might as well, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and make it easier on them, because some of those are potential buyers. And
1 in 5 people have visual issues. Wow. Okay, everybody. Now we're getting into another topic that's super important.
They're not all blind,
but they have a visual issue. Like they have, blurry vision, or they have, cataracts, or they have whatever else, an eye infection, whatever. But they have a visual issue. That's powerful. 1 in 5, you all. Now, for those of you who think it's not important to make your website an SEO, ADA compliant, i.e. American Disabilities Act compliant, so that somebody coming on who has a visual problem would know what the heck you're talking about, that is a compelling reason to do it, because we're talking about 20% of your potential profit, Terry.
Yeah, and not only that, by making your web pages ADA compliant, and there's no law says you have to.
No, we don't have
settled law. 2004 is when W signed this into law, that it would be in 10 years, 2014, it would be across the board for everything, but they didn't include the internet. So there's still legal ramifications. The courts are still trying to hammer that out. But if you take the time, and it doesn't take a lot of time, to make your pages ADA compliant, that gives you a good excuse to go on to social media, do a press release, and say, we've made our website. This is a reason to get your name in the news. We went to the effort and made our website so we can cater to people that have difficulty navigating the web.
Okay, guess what? You get the special wand, Terry. You see the special wand? Because that is like a incredible tip to go on there. Same thing about having translators on your website, because guess what? If your website, did you know, like in North Carolina, we have more Latino immigrants than even California now. So if you don't have something available where somebody who only speaks Spanish can understand what you've got on your website, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Just like if you don't make it ADA compliant, you are leaving money on the table. Wow, Terry, I love that. And I really did not realize 1 in 5. That is amazing.
It's not a law, but it's a good idea. Make your site compliant.
Wow. And when you do that, not only do you feel good about it because you've been inclusive of badasses who just happen to be blind or happen to have cataracts or whatever. We all have disabilities. For a lot of us, they're invisible, right, Terry? You know, they may be anxiety, they may be ADD, they're invisible. Arthritis. I think everybody has a disability to some extent, but it just may be like, for example, I transpose numbers. Terry, I don't know why I do this, but I have to always read back any numbers twice to somebody because otherwise I'll have it wrong. And then I'll send a message like, I told you I sent a message to the wrong person right before we came on here because I transposed something. So it's very important that we be inclusive because we all have disabilities, right? And SEO, I've never thought about this. This would be an incredible talk for you to give, Terry, is like how SEO can give you SEO combined with ADA compliance can boost your business and skyrocket it. And then you do the press release, like you pointed out.
Yeah, put it on all your socials. You know, it's an excuse to promote your business
And it's
come
an
across
important
as a good person. You know, a good business, a business that recognizes that there are people that might have had trouble navigating their website before, so we have fixed it. So that won't be a problem for anybody.
I love that. And I love that also, you know, when you do it, you're actually bringing attention to something that most people don't think about unless they have had vision problems. Most people won't think about it. And so, you know, I can't tell you how many times with this client, because I've worked with her for years and years, Terry, how many times, you know, I'll send her something and she's like, I can't access it. Can you imagine? It's like if we didn't have legs and we're trying to go, you know, in a restaurant and we're in a wheelchair and there's no ramp. So why wouldn't you put a ramp on your website to include everybody? The ramp being ADA compliant, you know? So powerful. I had no idea we'd get into this, but it's super cool, Terry. So let's go to the chainsaws. And, you know, I think you're a little bit older than me, maybe just a little. But, you know, you remember the Texas chainsaw murders? They've come back. There's a recent version. It's not very good, though. I watched it with my daughter. It really wasn't good. I was not scared. But the original haunted me. I still have certain scenes in my mind that I'll never forget. Like when he's pulling the chainsaw behind him and he's running through like this wheat or cornfield and you can hear it and he's panting and he's trying to get to his victim. And I'm like, oh God. So what on earth did chainsaws of all things have to do with your SEO?
Well, chainsaws were invented by a couple of Frenchmen, surgeons, in fact, to help
Lord.
with the birthing process. Now, the chains they used were not unlike you'd have on a pocket watch chain or a thin necklace. Weren't a heavy-duty chain. And if you're old enough to remember mixers where you would turn a crank,
oh yeah,
mixers would turn, those. No electricity needed. They had a crank on them that made that chain go, and you could use that to saw bone. In the Civil War, that was used. They were used for a lot for amputation because your knife, your bayonet, they could get through the flesh, but they couldn't cut through the bone. So you either had to go to the next joint for an amputation if you couldn't get through the bone. So the chainsaw was originally invented to aid in surgery.
Wow. Bone
cutting easier. It wasn't until over 70 years later when somebody invented an internal combustion engine that someone goes, oh, you know, if that chain was bigger, we could run it off of one of these things. And then the chainsaw that we now know, came into being. Now there are huge chainsaws. There are smaller ones. There are not any more little crank ones, except in a few museums, and those in medical museums. But the important thing is, when these guys, these two surgeons, invented this thing, they thought this is great. This is amazing. Never considering that 100 or 200 years later, it'd be used for a completely different purpose, not the one it was intended. And when you're looking at websites and rankings, there are tools out there that can help you, but they weren't intended for what you're using them for. So I've always been a fan of Kurt Vonnegut, one of my favorite writers. And he once said, go out to the edge, because that's where the interesting people are. You don't have to live on the edge, but it's important once in a while to go to the edge and see what else is going on.
Yes.
If you see a tool or a process and go, wonder, there's something else I could do with that, and use the tools in new ways. I've got here my cell phone. Obviously, it was intended to make phone calls. It's evolved a lot. Now I can, if I am at home or at a restaurant somewhere, if I want, I can look up a plumber, see where they're located, and hit the map, and it'll direct me there. That helps rank the plumber higher when people are looking for it online and then getting directions. So if you wanted to, you could sit at home, buy yourself 50 cell phones, and search on all of them and get directions to a particular plumber. And the plumber would rank better. I've got a friend who lives in Wisconsin, and she does that for clients. She goes to say, I'm going to be in Dallas next week. She'll get some clients. She'll take her phones with her. She's got hundreds of phones.
My land.
And with software, she sets them all up to look for, say, a plumber. And then, of course, you get a list, and her software is set to find, Dr. Barnsley's Plumbing or whoever, then get driving directions. And their site starts to move up, especially in the map rankings, the 3-pack.
Because there's demand.
Engagement matters. Yeah, engagement matters. So,
engagement matters.
But phones were not meant to do that, to help with SEO, and yet they can be used that way. Now, just most people aren't going to go bother buying 100 phones, but you could, if you have a business or someone who does, suggest to them that in the morning when they get up, before they go to work, Google it and get the driving directions. You're going anyway.
And you could ask your friends.
Or all the employees.
I love it.
If each of you one day a week Googles it from home and hits the driving directions before you come to work, they get a free lunch on Friday or a cup of coffee, whatever it is. But encourage the employees to do that some mornings. You don't have to do it every morning, but those kind of things can help. Social media.
Okay, Terry, I got an idea now. You're giving me an idea for creative marketing, and that is you all listening. Okay, take this idea, but do it this way. Go on social media and say, hey, I'm going to do a drawing for an XYZ prize. You decide what the prize is. And when you 3 times this week go on and Google the name of my business and hit driving directions, then tag yourself or put a comment, and that earns you an entry. But you have to tell me which days you did this. And the point being, then you take those people who've done it and you give away something compelling, like an Amazon gift card or whatever, or really, one of your courses or some other offering of yours, or you give a huge discount to something that you're offering that's very compelling. But that way you get a lot of people doing it for you. And you don't have to buy 100 phones, which is a bit excessive. And you don't have to do it every morning yourself if you get other people involved. I love that. It's kind of like, Terry, for me, it's like when people say, hey, my book's being launched on Amazon. Would you go buy a copy for $1.99 today? So they can become a bestseller. Yeah,
wow. Engagement matters for the search engines. So if you can get people to do something, same way as social media, post consistently to social media and you'll get engagement, which turns into traffic, which should turn into sales and profits.
Terry, I've gotten money from Facebook. Can you imagine? I'm getting checks from Facebook. No, they're not huge. I was like, first time it happened, I said, what the heck is this? I'm getting checks. And by the way, you all, usually the checks come from what? You and I talked about it, Terry. Reels. Reels. For those of you new, it comes from the shorts. How many times people watch your short videos, i.e. your reels? And reels are the going thing. Terry, gosh, there's so much for us to talk about, but let's focus on two things before we wrap, okay? Because I know your wife is waiting for you. Tell her we appreciate her. It's time to take her out to dinner, spend some time with her. I'd like to know what we need to do with shorts and reels, i.e. reels. And also I'd like to know, how do we get engagement on Google My Business? So why don't we start with the reels?
Okay. One thing I always train people, CORE, core.
CORE.
Create once, republish everywhere.
Mm.
If you create a short video or several,
Mm-hmm.
you should be putting it on YouTube Shorts. You should be putting it on Instagram. You should be using it on Facebook, anywhere that your audience potentially is. Okay. Now, TikTok.
In your email newsletter.
I'm not a fan of TikTok. And if they're around next year, they're going to have to be around in a different way, because we don't want everybody using something that the Chinese government is getting all the stats. We want Google to get the stats, Facebook to get the stats,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But anyway, but if you're going to create short videos, use them. Use them in your social media. Use them anywhere you can, on your website. Shorts, again, before you upload them, you name them your keyword. That's important. If you're going to use them as reels on Facebook, you then leave a comment yourself with a link to where you want people to go. Don't put the link in the post, put it in the first comment. Google doesn't like posts that tell people leave Facebook. I mean, Facebook doesn't like it.
Oh, that's right. They don't like it if you put something and you put it
here, leave Facebook and go to another website. But they don't have as much control over the comments. So, and their algorithm doesn't check out the comments for that reason, because they know none of us have control what people say in the comments. Obviously, we can delete others.
We can.
But your first comment should be the link. You can mention in that the link is see the link in the comments, but your actual post, you don't want to tell people to leave Facebook.
But you want to make sure you have a visual, whether it's a GIF or a photo or whatever, have a visual. You all really listen to what Terry's saying. This is very powerful. Terry, boy, you just changed my life here, because when I do my comments, we do this with my YouTube channel. We'll say, hey, find out the next bold at blah, 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 blah. And then we'll say the link is in the comments, or it'll be in the graphic, but you can't click on that graphic on Facebook. So that way it's getting promoted all over. My VA will promote it all over a lot of business communities on Facebook. And I'm not getting, my hand slapped by Facebook. And I know people, Terry, who have gotten kicked off Facebook. And you all, I want to say something here. Make sure that you are getting people's information, because if you ever get shut down on Facebook or any of these other sites, sometimes you can't even get back on there. So do not use Facebook as your database. You need to have people in your own database. You need to have an email list. You need to have a way to reach out, or have a community off of Facebook. Maybe WhatsApp, whatever, a way to connect with people. But do not rely on Facebook like your Database. Terry, what would you say to that? Have you seen
If
this happen a
you,
lot?
if you think you're doing anything that's even close to an issue with Facebook, you can download all your Facebook information.
Yeah.
Once every week or two, if you're posting a lot of stuff that you're like, well, you're skirting the edge, you're perfectly
Yeah.
fine, but you're close. Download your all your Facebook content.
So what would be skirting the edge? What would we want to avoid?
Well, one thing, Facebook, your image, they don't want your image to be more than a certain amount of it be text. So I used to be 20%, but I think it might be 22 now. But if you create an image and you go to a Facebook ads account, even if you just create the account, you don't have to pay for ads to do this, but create the account and go, here's an ad I want to run. And they'll look at it and they'll say, you got too much, this 25% of it is text. We don't like that. So you go, okay, I've got to make the text a little smaller or make the rest of the image, fill it out with more visual stuff. But like I said, if you're skirting that, playing it really close, doesn't hurt to download your data from Facebook. So you've got it just in case.
But if you're not doing Facebook ads, what do you want to avoid? So I'm guessing a lot of people here are not doing Facebook ads because that really is a strategy. A lot of the people I work with, Terry, are 0 to 5 years in, usually in their business, and they are just building, and they don't want to wait till year 10 to get to 6 figures. They want the short, sweet way with Dr. B. They want to be free. So they're in the earlier stages. And so if Facebook ads are going to be when you get the money to be able to spend, because you are going to spend some. So what would you say to those people who are just using, say, their personal page and a business page? What do we want to avoid? Other than the obvious things like Diddy freak-offs. No Diddy freak-offs. Just, nothing involving children or hurting animals.
Right. But your business page, you should think of every 10 posts you make, 5 of them should be entertaining or educational or emotional, something that people will share. No mention of your business, no mention of your company.
Even on your business page?
Anything. Even on your business page. 5 out of 10 should just be pages to get engagement.
Really? On your business page?
Speaking at an SEO conference, and this lady who called herself, she was called by a major publication, a Facebook queen. She said one of her most successful posts she used when starting her Facebook pages was simply asparagus, yes or no. That's all she put. She'd get hundreds of engagements every time she put that up because people would be like, feel very strongly about it one way or the other. Had nothing to do with the business.
Heard the Brussels sprout version of that.
Okay, yeah. Once they've engaged, then they start seeing more of your posts. So if 5 of them are stuff like that, Mars, the only planet inhabited entirely by robots. People see that. Maybe there's a picture of a robot. That's cute. They share it. Even an occasional dad joke. And then 3 of your posts relate to your service or product. They don't necessarily have to refer to your business, but relate to why you should get your roof inspected after the hailstorm or, things like that. And then only 2 of those 10, strong call to action to contact your business so that people get drawn in. Half of your posts are something they like and want to share. So they pay attention when you post. They read them. They click like or love or share, things like that. So they'll continue to see more, which will include those 2 calls to action that you're going to have strong call to action regularly.
Terry, I love this because I have always preached to my mastermind coaching clients that you should be 80 to 90% entertaining, sharing, emotional, pulling the red curtain back on your life, showing your dogs, you in Aruba, whatever. And then only 10 to 20% should be really business, like serious business with CTAs. And I love how you've broken it down, because you said out of 10 posts that 5 should really be emotional, entertaining, all of that. 3 should just, like fun posts. 3 should be relating to your service, and 2 should have a strong CTA. Is that right? Strong call to action. Now,
Yeah.
I've also heard this. Those of you listening, here's another way to think about it that I think is really cool. Jenna Kuchner, whatever. She talks about having 5 topics that you love. 5 topics you love. So, for example, one of hers, Terry, is mac and cheese. She's like a mac and cheese aficionado. So you have 5 topics you love. So for me, that's like rescue animals, improv theater, I don't know, business, spirituality, developing yourself spiritually, and Reiki. Those are like mine. Have 5 that you talk about, but only really 1 should be like business of those 5. And
Well,
that's the
same as 2 out of
20%.
10. That's the same as the 2 out of 10.
Exactly. It's the 20% you're talking about.
Yeah, it's consistent. It's the Pareto principle. 20% does the work.
Love it. Did y'all hear that? Okay, so don't be one of these slimy people who sends a message on Facebook Messenger. I just sent an audio message, Jerry, to one of them. She keeps sending me this stuff about how she's going to generate 5,000 leads for me in 2 days or whatever. And I sent her an audio message, and I said, look, I know you're a younger generation, and I'm going to give you some feedback, and I want you to know it's coming from a place of caring. This is not the way to engage, especially with someone from my generation. We are all about relationships. We want to know who you are. We want to know about your animals, your kids, your hobbies, your pets, your favorite restaurants, all of that before we're going to engage. We want to know you. And I said, you're really doing yourself a disservice. And I don't know who's teaching you this, but I just want to say to you, stop. And that's coming from love. That's what I said. And the other thing you could do when you do that, I'm going to say you can do that, is you could say, and by the way, I'd love to offer you a complimentary session if you want to talk about this. We can talk about it. Complimentary 25-minute session. So you can turn it around on them a little bit. But somebody needs to tell them, right, Terry? Somebody needs to.
Yeah. Between LinkedIn and Facebook, every day I get someone reaching out to connect. But for them, when they say to connect, what they mean is, I want to sell you something right today.
Now,
I'm like, well, good luck in the future, but that's not the way to make sales. The way to make sales is to take the time to read my about, find a little about me. Is there anything we can connect that we share in common? To be honest, the best thing is to ask for help, because people want to help you. And once they've helped you, then they're willing to also listen to some of what you have to say. It's a reciprocity thing. Robert Cialdini, if you haven't read his books, read them. But it's all
how
about.
do you spell that last name, Terry?
Cialdini, I believe. Cialdini. But he explains how reciprocity works. And you'd remember this, back in the days when you go to the airport and there'd be Hare Krishnas there handing you a flower. Just the fact that you were given something, people felt obligated to give them back $1. You didn't have to, but it worked. They made millions of dollars giving away day-old flowers that were already starting to wilt. Because when you help someone else, they feel like it's a societal agreement that, you can help them. If you can help them back in some way that's not going to harm you much, you will. So that's the essence of good sales, is being helpful, getting help from someone else, helping them back, reciprocity.
Serving. Wow, Terry, you've given us so much to think about today and so many strategies. You all listening, I really hope that you will listen to the entire episode again, because there's a lot in here and it's explained with examples. We've broken it down for you so there can be no doubt about how you could actually implement, or have your virtual assistant or your assistant implement. Terry, quick question before we get to the giveaway. Who's excited about the giveaway? I am. Woo! I love the giveaway. Quickly, Aruba. You took that picture behind you, did you?
Yes, I did. Just a little over a
Wow.
week ago.
So what was the best thing about Aruba for you? Just, I know everybody's wondering, why the heck does he have, he's talking about chainsaws and he has a picture of this gorgeous ocean because you were in Aruba. Tell us the best thing about Aruba for you.
The best thing, and this was not my first time in Aruba. So the best thing for me was seeing and listening to my wife's impression of this place that I think is fantastic. Because you never know, we've gone on a trip where, like, I grew up just outside of Columbus, Ohio, and we've gone on a trip up there where I took her to the zoo. Great zoo, by the way.
That is a great zoo.
To the Ohio State University, where I went to school, and showed her different things. Not everybody's going to feel the same about it as you do, right?
Yeah.
So I told her several times over the years that I really love Aruba, a fantastic place.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean somebody else is going to feel the same way about it, But it was a great trip. Enjoyed it. We got to, get away, which is always helpful once in a while, and recharge a little and stuff. And we, got to spend some time in the ocean. Sometimes.
Oh, did you snorkel? I love snorkeling, Terry.
We went on a submarine thing to see a shipwreck from World War II.
Oh, wow.
Coral reefs and a whole bunch of fish. They explained
cool.
what all the fish were, like the blue ones with the yellow but I couldn't follow all that because when you'd see one, the one they just talked about. So the fish didn't cooperate to come just during while they'd be talking about that particular type of fish. But
they didn't get their cues.
My wife went parasailing.
Woo! Wow.
So some cool stuff.
She's a daredevil.
Sunset cruise.
Oh. Well, Terry, and you've been married a long time, right? Get your wife over here. Say hello.
Not really very long compared to.
Bring her over here. Let's say hello. No. We want to see the daredevil.
I think she's busy right now.
Oh, but she parasailed. I can't. She's wild. I haven't done that. That's one thing I haven't done.
It's something, bucket list kind of thing. Something she'd always wanted to do. So.
Wow.
We got to do
all right. So we just got like a couple of minutes more, and you all, it's giveaway time. Studio audience, go wild. My dogs are like, woo, 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 woo. So here's what we do every week, you all. These guests are giving their time and showering us with their expertise. And thank you, Terry, for being here. You've given us so much, and I'm so appreciative. And they're going to give you something. And when you go into the freebie vault, not only are you going to get what Terry gives away, but you're also going to have your choice of any of the gifts of any of the guests. And literally, you all, it's thousands and thousands of dollars of gifts. No joke. I mean, I've got to count it up again. The last time I counted, it was well over $30,000 of gifts. I was like, dang. And all you do to get there, everybody write this down, is you go to bit.ly/free from Dr. B, and that is DRB. Let me repeat it. BIT, like the dog bit me, bit.ly/free from Dr. B, DRB. You just go there. You'll put in your email. We don't share it with anybody. Don't worry. We are not slimy. I hate those people who share emails. And you'll be able to choose anything you want. And especially, everybody, make sure you choose the incredible gifts of the Bold Badass sponsors right there at the top. Make sure you choose all of those. And then scroll on down and choose the others that you want. So, Terry, what are you going to give away today? Drum roll.
I mentioned consistent posting on social media. And my freebie is going to be a link to a web page I put up that has something for you that you plug in your business name, your product, your area, and it will give you a month of social media posts.
Wow.
They're relevant.
A month of social media posts.
and it's set up so that a couple of them have a call to action. Some are fun. Some deal with your business, your product or service, not necessarily directly your business, those ones, but it creates a calendar. You don't have to follow it in that order.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you because we're almost out of time.
Okay.
Everybody, go to bit.ly/free from Dr. B and grab Terry's 30 days of social media content according to those percentages we talked about earlier, right? So you do about 80% entertaining, fun, all of that, and then 20% is going to be business related. It's all broken down for you right there. Terry, thank you so much. I've loved having you on the show. Thank your wife for being patient for us to finish so she can have you and go parasailing somewhere in Greensboro. I don't know about that.
She's already done that. She's already done that.
The whitewater rafting. And everybody, remember, tune in next week on the Bold Badass Business Show at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And even if you don't feel like a badass, you are, or you wouldn't be here with us. Thanks. Bye, all.
Thanks, Dr. Barnsley.
Thanks, Terry. Loved having you on.